Hello, everyone. Would you like to proceed, Mayor?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. This is a meeting of the Borough Council on October 7th, 2020. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Asbury Park Press and the Two River Times and posting at the Borough of Highlands Municipal Building and filing with the Borough Clerk all on January 1st, 2020. We will now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I will now call roll. Councilmember Braswell.
Here.
Councilmember Mazzola.
Here.
Councilmember Valkos.
Here.
Council President Ryan.
Here.
Mayor Brouillon.
Here.
Thank you. Tonight we have a proclamation declaring October 4th through 10th, 2020 as Fire Prevention Week in the Borough of Highlands. Would you like to read it, Mayor?
Sure, I'm just bringing it up.
Okay. Thank you.
Whereas the Borough of Highlands is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those who live, work, and visit Highlands, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern, both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire, and whereas home fires killed more than 2,630 people in the United States in 2017, according to the National Fire Protection Association, and fire departments in the United States responded to 357,000 home fires, and whereas cooking is the leading cause of home fires in the United States, where fire departments have responded to more than 173,200 annually between 2013 and 2017, whereas 2 of every 5 home fires starts in the kitchen, with 31% of these fires resulted from unattended cooking, and whereas more than half of the reported non-fatal home cooking fire injuries occurred when the victims tried to fight the fire themselves, and whereas children under 5 face a higher risk of non-fire burns associated with cooking than being burned in a cooking fire, whereas Highlands residents should stay in the kitchen when frying food on the stovetop, keep a 3-foot kid-free zone around cooking areas, and keep anything that can catch fire away from stovetops. And whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in a reported home fires in half, and whereas first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education, and whereas Highlands residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their fire safety from fire, especially in the home, and whereas the 2020 Fire Week theme, Serve Up Fire Safety in the Kitchen, effectively serves to remind us to stay alert and use caution when cooking to reduce the risk of kitchen fires. Therefore, I, Carolyn Brouillon, Mayor of the Borough of Highlands, do hereby proclaim October 4th through 10th, 2020 as Fire Prevention Week throughout the borough. I urge all of the residents of Highlands to check their kitchens for fire hazards and use safe cooking practices during Fire Prevention Week 2020 throughout the year, and to support safety activities and efforts of the Highlands Fire Department. Done on the 7th day of October 2020, under my hands, Carolyn Brouillon, Mayor of Highland, members of the Borough Council, Rosemary Ryan, Council President, Kenneth Braswell, Linda Mazzola, Cody Valkos.
Thank you. Tonight, we have 3 ordinances for public hearing and final adoption. First, we have O-2020, an ordinance amending chapters 3 and 7 of Borough Code to address public parking requirements.
Before you open it up to the public, I believe there's a new ordinance on the agenda as well for introduction of 2024.
That is correct. This version of 2020 is, we have already replaced wording from the last meeting. So Brian, the most expeditious way to do this is to,
They'll open it up to the public and then you can vote on this one, knowing that you're introducing a new ordinance under O-2024.
okay. Before I open it up to the public, does anyone on the council want to speak to this ordinance and why we've made these changes? All right, then I'll open up to the public. Okay, seeing no public comment on this, I will close it. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll move it.
1 second. Exactly what is the motion?
The motion is to introduce the ordinance for adoption, and then it will be voted upon if it's seconded.
I'd like to read the ordinance.
Okay. So who introduced it?
Ken.
Ken. Okay. And there has been no second, so the ordinance fails.
Okay,
Michelle, did you state that?
yes, ordinance failed.
Okay.
I will now move on to O-20-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 10 of the Borough Code, Building and Housing by creating Section 10-15, Display of Flags.
Before I open this to the public, does anyone on the council have anything to say regarding this ordinance?
No.
Okay, then I will open up to the public. Does anyone have a comment on the flag ordinance? Seeing no comments, I will close public portion. And with that, I will offer.
I'll second.
Councilman Braswell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
This ordinance has passed on second and final reading. Next, we have O-20-22, an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Section 26.6 of the Borough Code concerning conditions of issuance of towing and storage services licenses.
I'll offer.
You gotta open it to the public, don't we?
Well, we have to, and then I'll offer.
Does anyone on the council have anything to, they'd like to add about this ordinance before I open it to the public?
No.
All right, then, I will open this to the public. Okay, seeing no comments. I will, Rosemary, you wanted to offer?
I'll offer.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
This ordinance has passed on second and final reading. Next, we have introduction of two ordinances. We have O20-23 bond ordinance providing for the rehabilitation of the Waterwitch wastewater pump station, appropriating $435,000, therefore, and authorizing the issue of $435,000 bonds and notes to finance a portion of the cost thereof, authorized in and by the Borough of Highlands in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey.
Ken, would you like to offer that?
I'll offer that. Thank you.
Okay, I'll second it.
Thank you.
Offered by Councilmember Braswell, seconded by Mayor Brion. Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
yes,
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
This ordinance has passed on first reading with public hearing scheduled for October 21st, 2020. Next, we have O20-24, an ordinance amending chapters 3 and 7 of Borough Code to address public parking requirements.
I'll offer it.
Second.
Before we vote on this, Brian, I would like to ask if I know that we came up with these hours, but there's been a couple of residents that have contacted me asking for 10 p.m. instead of 11 p.m. Would that be a substantive change?
It would be a substantive change that you'd still have to republish. But you can make the change now and publish it. It would just then it would go through the process again.
Also, all the parking lots don't have to have the same time restrictions.
Well, all of the parking lots pretty much are all in residential areas.
I think the one that gets abused is the Miller Street Beach one. That's strictly for beach parking, and no one from the restaurant should be parking there.
But there's also the skate park parking lot. There's a lot of parking lots, and they're all adjacent to residential living. If it's the flavor to keep it at 11, that's fine too. I just wanted to bring it up that some people have come to me and asked that it be 10 p.m. I mean, traditionally, I guess kitchens close at 10 p.m. If anyone has any discussion before we move this forward.
Well, if they close at 10 p.m., takes you about a half hour then if you get your food at 10 to eat.
Right.
You give yourself a half hour and then 45 minutes and then a few minutes to walk to your car.
Right. That was the original thought with the.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I understand the residents feeling that way, but if kitchens close at 10 o'clock, you're still going to have some customers that are going to be going back to their car. Maybe we leave it at 11 and see how much of a problem it is.
Could do just we are technically in the off season now.
Right.
Linda, how do you feel about that?
I don't want to hinder the businesses from having their customers have to cut their time short to run back to their cars. I mean, right now we don't have any, very little policy as far as, I've seen cars parked for weeks in certain parking lots. So I agree with Rosemary. I don't want to hinder the businesses. I think if it's 60 minutes, let's see how it goes. We can always revisit it and push it back to 10 if we need to.
Okay. Well, Michelle, you had your first and a second, so roll call, please.
Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
This ordinance has passed on first reading with public hearing scheduled for October 21st, 2020. Next on the agenda, we have resolutions. We have a resolution 20-194, which was tabled at the last meeting. It's a resolution authorizing agreement reimbursement of municipal service Gravelly Point Road.
I'll make the offer. I'll second.
I'm sorry, who was that? Was that Mayor Bouillon?
Yes.
Okay,
And Council President Ryan seconded.
thank you. Councilmember Braswell?
Abstain?
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Council President Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos?
Yes.
Mayor Bouillon?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have Resolution 2211, a resolution authorizing the payment of bills.
I need to split out Gateway.
So is there a motion to approve, to remove Gateway? Is it Gateway?
Yeah, Gateway Villas.
Okay. So there's a motion to remove Gateway from the payment of bills in Resolution 2211. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Michelle, do you want to take the roll?
Yes.
This is
Councilmember
to
Braswell?
remove, this is to remove Gateway.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola? You're muted. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. Council President Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos?
Abstain.
Mayor Bouillon?
Yes.
So now, Michelle, would be the resolution to approve the payment of bills excluding the Gateway Village Condo Association.
Okay. Do I have an offer?
Make
I'll-
it.
I'll-
Do I have a second?
A second.
I'll second.
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola? Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Council President Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos?
Yes.
Mayor Bouillon?
Yes.
Motion carries to approve payment of bills excluding Gateway.
So now there should be a motion to approve the payment of bills for Gateway Villas Condo Association.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Council President Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos?
Abstain.
Mayor Bouillon?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt, approving payment of bills with Gateway. Next, we have R2212, a resolution appointing Michelle Hutchinson to serve in the position of acting municipal clerk for an additional 10-month period.
I'll make it.
I'll
I'll
second.
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Council President Mazzola?
Happily,
Sorry, Councilmember Mazzola?
happily, yes.
Thank you. Council President Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos?
Yes.
Mayor Bouillon?
Yes, with pleasure.
Thank you. Motion carries to adopt. We have Resolution 2213, a resolution authorizing the return of escrow funds for 1C Drift Avenue.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola? Council President Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos?
Yes.
Mayor Bouillon?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Resolution 2214, a resolution authorizing the refund of a tax overpayment.
I'll offer it.
I'll
Second.
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Council President Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Velkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Resolution 2215, a resolution adopting corrective action plan for the 2019 municipal audit.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Council Member Braswell,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Velkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Resolution 2216, a resolution appointing provisional sergeants within the police department.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Councilmember Braswell,
Abstain.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Velkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Motion to adopt. Next, we have Resolution 2217, a resolution appointing special counsel for redevelopment projects.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Velkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion.
Yes.
Motion to adopt. R 2218, a resolution making an additional determination regarding the application for a mercantile license for the year 2020 for Captain's Cove Marina LLC.
I believe Mr. Perini wants to be heard on this, and keep in mind the resolution is blank in the now therefore be it resolved clause.
Mr. Perini's muted.
Mr. Perini, you're muted.
Yeah, so I'd like to just that the short mercantile licenses that have been issued with the ever-changing list of requirements is just kind of driving me nuts. I don't know where I stand here. I don't know what the council or the town wants anymore. I just really am getting kind of burned out here. I don't know, it's trying to get this place open, and it just we've had some meetings on site with engineers and thought we had things worked out, and then the last meeting I thought was just going to be a rubber stamp for a real mercantile license, and I get a 20-day mercantile license. So it's just kind of, I'm going to just have to kind of close up shop, I guess. I don't know what else to do here. So just confused and don't know what you guys really want, and I just would really like everybody to kind of be transparent and let me know what the town's expectation is here, because this whole thing's kind of being run on Facebook right now, and it's just driving me crazy. So I kind of went into this deal with the idea that I'd have a partnership with the town to achieve this project, and it's been nothing but a nightmare. With residents up in arms about catastrophic failures and rumor mills about everything under the sun, and I just don't operate like that. And I really I'd like to just hear it from the group that what's really going on here, and what if there's a group in town that feels that this thing's going to be better off filled in. I know everybody says that that's not true, but then I read Oprah's and I find out there's definitely was a push for that. So I just would really like to know from the council and the town what's really wanted here, because I'm not going to tread water or swim up river here for the rest of this project. So that's what I have to say. And I don't think it's right that you guys keep changing the rules and inventing 30-day, 20-day, 15-day mercantile licenses at whim. I also don't think that it's right that you're holding me hostage based on issuing a mercantile license. So, I mean, those certainly will, if we move forward, there'll be a time and place for negotiating for, land use stuff and the redevelopment, but we're not even there yet. We're not, so just that's my 2 cents.
Mr. Perini, before the council speak, you are the contract purchaser, and I know that you are currently the tenant and applicant, and there is an agreement in place with that parcel, that property from 2017, which is still enforceable. So with that being said, the council can now question you, ask you, or talk about it.
Does anyone have any questions or comments for Mr. Perini from the council?
I guess, what are your intentions with the marina? I mean, I know you want to fix it. I know you want to open it, obviously, and operate, but what's the plan?
Well, there's the immediate plan, which is obviously to get it, fixed up and operable. And then there's the long-term plan, which is to continue to improve the marina and bring all kinds of different, events and, junior sailing schools and regattas and, things like that. And then eventually work with the town on this redevelopment plan to, create a, to kind of fix the whole place up. That's how I looked at it. And, I presented some concepts early on, which have, dog's trying to take my computer, which, we haven't even gotten across the starting line. And there's just so much going on in the political arena, and it's not my thing. So at the end of the day, I think I, made a heck of an effort to show you guys that I was serious, jumping in there, immediately and straightening out the big problem at the end of Washington. But whatever's going on with like the scare tactics with everything else, it's got to stop. And it's just, you mentioned an enforceable contract from 2017. Well, unfortunately, I only know what's in front of me, and I have an affidavit from the seller stating that the two areas were repaired. I've even gone over and above that and said, look, when I met with the engineer on site and my engineer said, look, just to be honest, we're going to replace these areas anyway, so there's no sense in even arguing over it. I get it that the new town engineer doesn't want to certify that certain areas were done to spec because he didn't witness it. But at the end of the day, they're going to be repaired anyway. So I just don't think that continuing to, punish the community here and me for whatever, I don't know, is the right thing to do. And I just don't understand what the motive is. And I think I feel like I'm dealing with two towns here. There's the side that comes out and says, hey, great job, you're doing an awesome job, and whatever. Then there's the side that doesn't come out and are just beating me up on Facebook. Oh, this guy's broke. This guy's in debt, blah, 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 blah. You know what? At the end of the day, nobody knows anything about this deal. It's not a lease. It's not a scam. It's a contract to purchase in a 1031 exchange. That's my business. And at the end of the day, I will own this marina by the end of the year, for better or worse. But if I don't get a clear understanding as to what the town wants, then I may just be selling it back to the guy that has the plans. I don't know what to do anymore. So that's
we want a safe marina for the residents in that area. I mean, and there is, filling in the marina is dead. That is not an option. And I don't know, it's not an option. And these emails that are coming out online, they're from 2019. It is not an option. It's simply not an option.
They're coming out online, but at the last meeting, I was told by several council members that we never discussed filling this marina in. Then I'm reading these Oprah deals, and there were a number of people involved in a lot of discussions, not only to go to the DEP and to request to fill it in once, but then to go back and come up with another scheme to go and create some kind of a water-dependent clam pier or, whatever. So, and there's still talk on the street, if you will, about, that they're going to get this done. And this, so look, at the end of the day, I tend to ignore all that kind of stuff. But then when it's being thrown in my face that, well, we're not going to let you open, then I'm starting to believe some of this. So at the end of the day, I'm just asking you guys to get together and be transparent and let me know what the town wants. I'm not going to battle the town. I'm trying to fix a marina up in the middle of a residential neighborhood, and we all need to work together here, or this is never going to happen. So,
Mr. Perini, I can tell you, as a sitting council member for almost 2 years, that every single council member who is on the board right now, with the exception of Councilman Valkos, which includes the mayor and Rosemary Ryan and Mr. Braswell, that at the time in 2019, there absolutely was discussions that the marina would be filled in. At that time, Mr. Rosiak, who is still the owner of the marina, you are not the owner. You are only the person who is leasing the marina. And it baffles me sometimes why Mr. Rosiak isn't at these meetings, since he is still the owner of the marina. Why are you the only representative when you are not the owner of the property? That's my 2 cents where that's concerned.
Because right now, I have a land lease in place.
Hang on, just for a second here. We're talking about a mercantile license. We're not talking about ownership. We're just talking about the mercantile process.
Secondly, I'm addressing some of the comments that we hear. Secondly, as far as having a partner, we need a partner as well. And I rely on the professionals of this town, which are our attorneys and our engineers. And the information that we are getting is, number one, we know there's a contract that's been in place since 2017. Those requirements have not been met. Secondly, since 2017, because it's now almost 2020, further deterioration has occurred at that marina, which now have to be taken care of. If you entered this deal with Mr. Rosiak thinking that you were not going to have to fulfill the requirements of that contract and that we would just accept that, I, for one, can tell you that you were sadly mistaken.
Well, if you entered into a contract with Rosiak in 2017 and the engineers, I knew very well about several areas which I originally discussed with the town. And I know exactly what they were, and I went at them right away and took care of them. But that list continues to grow and grow. But if legitimately the borough professionals are concerned that the residents of Washington are going to lose utility poles and gas lines and everything else, the borough should step up and fix that stuff and go after the bond, because you have a bond with Rosiak. All I know is I have an affidavit from Rosiak and statements from Rosiak that he fixed several areas under the supervision of T&M. Nobody has produced anything that said that he didn't. There's wishy-washy letters and emails stating that it wasn't witnessed by the new engineer, which is fine. I understand that. But then again, I had a conversation with the new engineer, and I discussed the fact that this is a moot point anyway, because we're going to do the Washington Street bulkheads. But I'm not going to do them today.
So when are you going to do them?
You guys have a schedule that I produced per the request for the last meeting. You have.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you this from my point of view. The reasons that we denied Mr. Rosiak's mercantile license have still not been completed 100%. Those 4 things.
Wanted to fill it in.
From the very beginning, Mr. Chelnick, we're not speaking to you right now. We're speaking to Mr. Perini. They're not done unless you can have, and it says in 2 of them, I believe, that you have to have them certified by an engineer. Not our engineer, Mr. Rosiak's engineer. I'm not putting this even on you, but whatever it is, for that mercantile to be restored, those things need to be done. Secondly, I want to address this. I don't think one sitting council member has been on Facebook saying anything about Captain's Cove, nor has any employee of the Borough of Highlands. So we stayed off that fight. We're not fighting that with you. We all want the same thing. We want this to be a very successful area. I want to see you prosper in this town, but I'm not going to bend the rules because you're throwing everything at the ceiling to see what sticks. So I would like to see those 4 things done in order to say yes to your mercantile license. That's all we're asking for, and then we know you have a schedule.
Well, Council President Ryan, you're one of the individuals that stated under oath at the special meeting that.
First of all, I wasn't under oath, and second, no, I wasn't. You were under oath. I was not. And second of all, I said at this, there was nothing on the table at this time.
Yeah, that's not what you said. You said I've never discussed filling in the marina with anyone, and now there are emails.
I never
and-
said anybody, and that's a lie. I mean, we can go back and listen to it, and that's fine. But I wasn't under oath, and that's fine to say everybody was under oath. You were under oath, and your witnesses were under oath. But we did discuss it. We all sat in a.
So you can lie if you're not under oath?
We sat in executive session, and we talked about it, all of us. And
You
you,
talked about filling it in.
Mr. Chulak, please, you cannot speak out of turn at this time. I do not want to have to mute you. Please.
And I will say this, I, as a sitting council member, am not going to be distracted by all this other noise about previous conversations of the marina being filled in and other developers who want to build homes. That is deterring from what we need to be focusing on, which are the elements in the contract for which you were aware of when you entered that lease with Mr. Rosiak. All these other things are a distraction to take the focus off of the work that you need to be doing to get that marina up and running. I want you to be successful as well. I want the people in the area to have a working marina, but I want this town to be safe. And at this point, if you have entered into a situation that you're uncomfortable with, or you can't or will not meet the guidelines in that contract, then please say so we can move forward.
Well, what are the guidelines?
We need to meet, we need to have a meeting of the minds.
Okay, I'm sorry, we've had meetings of the minds. We've had,
No,
I've spent on engineers. Yes, we have. I had a site visit with the engineers, and we discussed the fact that the Washington Ave bulkheads are going to be replaced. I will provide a schedule as to when they're going to be replaced. I actually also offered to do an additional repair in front of the area on Rogers that CME was not able to certify. I said, okay, I'm going to put an additional repair in front of that area because you don't know what's behind it. I agreed to all of that, and that's in my schedule. I'm giving you what you want. So you're just again, you're shutting me down for no reason. I'm giving you what you want.
No, you actually aren't, because guidelines have been set every time the mercantile was issued, and you failed to even meet those mile markers when they were set. I need to ask you a question. Are there any existing violations right now on that marina from any organization? Have you received any violations? Has that property received any violations that you're aware of?
Yeah, we've received a couple for having the container on the parking lot. I received violations for having a boat on the lot, our work boat. I think we're going to court on that. Yeah, we have a couple violations, absolutely.
Any new violations recently, today, yesterday, that have nothing to do with the Borough of Highlands?
Not that I know of.
Brian?
I understand that DEP issued a notice of violation, but I think they have to, I would defer to Mr. Romeyer. I think they have to do with the boat ramp and that area, but I defer to Mr. Romeyer to elaborate on that, insofar as whether it has any impact on the current area that's subject to the agreement. So if Mr. Romeyer, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm looking for a copy. The borough was copied on the NOV from the NJDEP. It has to do with the dredging operation, and I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but I believe it was sent to Mr. Perini. Maybe he hasn't received it yet, but it had to do with that, and the improvements that were not permitted, I believe. Jet ski lifts, jet ski ramps, boat lifts, that kind of stuff.
Well, I didn't put those in, so and I know that when you guys brought the DEP out, that she did bring up the fact that there were boat lifts that were not previously permitted, and my engineer has agreed to add those to our overall plan, which he's working with the DEP on. I wasn't aware that there was a violation. I guess I wasn't on email all day today, so maybe there was. I don't know. I'll have to check, or maybe Fred got it. I don't know.
We're now in a situation this evening where where we are expected to decide a mercantile license when there are 3 existing DEP violations on the property.
Okay, so now add that to the list. You know, you guys brought the DEP out for a reason. I guess now I know why. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, my engineer's dealing with DEP. If there are issues I need to straighten out, I'll straighten them out. I'm planning on removing the boat lifts anyway. So
These violations were for nothing that has to do with anything from the original agreement. Boat ramps and jet ski ramps, he has 30 days to mitigate them with DEP. It
That
has
is,
nothing to do with the original agreement, whether or not to offer a mercantile.
however, there are still 3 existing DEP violations, Carolyn, right now.
As I said, for boat ramps and jet ski launches that
And dredging.
do with
and
the 27, it has nothing to do with the 2017 agreement.
And dredging.
But the only discussion about dredging, by the way, that I knew about was the fact that the DEP was not aware that Fred notified the county or the county clerk, which he did. So I don't know if any other, and I haven't read any violation. I did see some commentary back and forth between Tammy Miller and my engineer, and Fred weighed in. And I know Fred did notify the county. And I think it's just a matter of providing the paperwork. That is the only violation on dredging that I'm aware of. We had our dredging permits and no problem. So like I said.
Well, you have 30 days to have a rem for that, right? That's what the paper said.
Yes.
I'm still going back to the original agreement.
DEP issues have nothing to do with our decision on the mercantile. And I'd like to remind everybody, the conditions that we put on Fred Rosiak was because he was not making any progress and not doing anything to better the situation. And we're trying to motivate him to move along. This is an entirely different situation. Mr. Perini clearly, in less than a year, has done 10 times more work than Rosiak has ever gotten accomplished there. So I don't understand why there isn't more good faith going on here. It just seems like a big witch hunt, trying to push him out and let someone else come in, which would go smooth sailing all along the way. I just can't watch that happen. So you need to cut this guy a little slack. He's making progress, and it's not. And the marina is not catastrophic unsafe.
Doing hundreds of thousands of dollars of repairs that Rosiak never did. And with that, I'm going to offer that we reinstate the mercantile license full go for the rest of 2020.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Shell, you going to do the roll?
Yes. Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
No.
Council President Ryan?
No.
Councilmember Valkos?
No.
Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Resolution to restore the mercantile license for the remainder of 2020 failed. You have to indicate that, Michelle.
Can I ask that the council members come down to the marina this weekend and tell the guys that are trying to go striper fishing why they can't go when I'm pulling the boats out? Just so you guys can be a part of that.
Mr. Perini, I actually wanted to attend one of those site meetings, but I was told I couldn't. I wish I could have, met you on site. So. Well,
it was a meeting. It was a meeting of paid engineers to be there, and we had a great meeting, a walkthrough, an agreement. I lived up to the terms of that agreement, and it's
who
the
is that?
same guys. It's the same people that are against me. So this is a waste of my time.
Who was at the site meeting?
Myself, my engineer, Doug Romeyer, and the mayor.
Okay. Well, I asked to attend that meeting, and I was told no. So I would have liked to attend that meeting, but.
Well, you guys are asking me to have engineers meet over and over and over again. I provided a professional schedule showing the work that's going to be done, and you know what? It's being ignored because there's an agenda here. And it's just, again, we're back to the fight on Facebook and the lies and the stories and the scaring the neighbors. So I don't know how to handle this anymore. I guess I should call up Farker and just sell it at a profit and see you guys later. That's the message I'm getting here. So again, please come down this weekend and tell all the people that want to go fishing now that the stripers are running why they can't. Because you're only hurting the residents. I'm not making any money from these rental boats. Honestly, so at the end of the day, you guys are just hurting the residents and the clammers who want to keep their boats in a sheltered harbor this winter. So that's what you're doing. So, good luck. Just please come down and you guys tell them yourself because I'm tired of it.
Make the repairs in the agreement, and we're happy to see you open and granting you.
With all due respect, Linda, you don't even know what the repairs are. Okay, I made an agreement to make all the repairs. It's on a schedule, it's on paper, but you're ignoring that because you've already predetermined you're voting this down. So it's fine. I get it. You have the power. I don't. Fine. I get it. You're taking really good care of the town, guys. That's it.
Wasn't predetermined.
What about public comment on this? There's no public comment?
No, this is a resolution. There'll be public comment once we get to get through all of the resolutions.
Okay.
So that resolution failed. Next, we have Resolution 20-219, a resolution authorizing temporary street closure. Do I have a motion?
Everyone's muted.
I'll make it.
Which street is it? I'm sorry. Again, I don't remember.
Highland Avenue from South Peak Street to Lighthouse Road on October 17, 2020 from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's for a block party.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Council President Ryan?
Abstain.
Councilmember Valkos?
Yes.
Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion to adopt. Next, we have Resolution 20-220, a resolution adopting remote meeting standard procedures and requirements.
I'll offer it, and also just for clarification, if people haven't had the chance to read through it, this is pretty much just echoing what the new law that came through Trenton about standards for remote meetings.
I wanted to add something to that. Reading through this, it specifically calls out that public comments can be submitted to the borough in writing in advance of the meeting. I don't want anyone in the public to think that they won't have the opportunity to continue to make comments at the time of the meeting. This just allows for pre-submission of questions.
And that is just for clarification for remote meetings because of the emergency legislation issued in the last week by the Division of Local Government Services, which set forth you have to have the meeting either all remote or in person and allow the public and have to have the ability to accommodate the anticipated public members with safety protocols in place.
I have an offer from Mayor Brion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Council President Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos?
Yes.
Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion to adopt. Next, we have Resolution 20-221, a resolution of the governing body for certification of the annual audit.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Council President Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos?
Yes.
Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion to adopt. Resolution 20-222, a resolution authorizing the refund of a certified copy of a vital record fee.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valakos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion,
Yes.
motion to adopt. We have Resolution 2223, a resolution approving closeout change order and declaring acceptance of the contract for the emergency contract for improvements to the municipal parking facility.
I'll offer it.
Second.
Councilmember Braswell,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valakos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion,
Yes.
motion to adopt. Next on the agenda, we have other business. We have Captain's Cove Marina, mercantile license developmental issues.
I think that's been addressed, right?
Correct. We'll have public comment, I'm certain, on this in
Public
portion.
Okay.
Okay,
So Michelle, you're moving on to Highlands Co-work,
yes,
mercantile license appeal. Is Mr. Nardone here?
Yes.
Okay. And before we begin, you were sent an email by the administrator on September 21st, which set forth with regard to your email and the time period within the ordinance. Please be advised that the borough is awaiting the results of the background check in connection with this mercantile license application. Since the initial background check is performed by an outside source, the borough cannot act until those results are received. Accordingly, if you insist on strict compliance with the 10-day time frame, then the borough would be compelled to issue a denial. However, if you agree to an extension of time until the background check results are received by the borough, then the borough can proceed to process the application and make a determination at that time. It's my understanding that you were not willing to hold open the mercantile application until the borough received their background check. And I don't anticipate that the borough would have a problem still offering that to you. What is your position in that regard? Would you still wish to proceed forward with an appeal when the background check is not back yet?
Yes, I do. My position is that the ordinance does not require receipt of the background check.
Got it. All right, so I'm gonna first put something on the record. Michelle, can you allow me to share the screen?
are you able to now?
Yeah, can you see it?
No,
It said disabled.
hold on.
Yeah, it says host disabled share. Okay, let me try now.
Think so. It says
That
all.
work?
Yes,
Okay, so what I've marked as exhibit BH1 is the mercantile license application, Mr. Nardone, that you submitted. Part and parcel to the ordinance concerning the mercantile license is an investigation and obviously the background checks. I marked as exhibit BH1 since you wish to pursue this appeal and hearing as BH1, which is the mercantile license application. Keep in mind that under section 4-9.1, the issuance of a license, that's the mercantile license under this chapter, is in addition to and not in derogation of any law of the state of New Jersey or ordinance of the borough regulating the business so licensed. I understand that the construction official conducted a site inspection and raised some issues with work performed, etc. That particular issue, any issues raised by the construction official, are not before the governing body. That is under section 10-14 of the borough ordinances concerning business certificates of occupancy. There is no appeal process contained within that ordinance to the governing body to seek relief from the construction official's determination. So your option in that regard are either to work to remedy the situation to secure your certificates of occupancy, business certificate of occupancy, or seek relief through other means, which you can do on your own. With that being said, I will also state that you did timely file an appeal of the mercantile license denial on September 23rd, 2020. In accordance with chapter 4-9.4, the council shall render a decision no later than 30 days after the date of making the appeal. So they have 30 days and their due date to render a decision is October 23rd. With that being said, it's your appeal. I'll allow you to proceed, but I need to swear you in for any testimony that you're going to provide. So Michelle, let's take off the shared screen. Can you raise your right hand, Mr. Nardone? Is any testimony that you're about to provide the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
Okay, you may proceed. You can present your case to the council.
Okay, so, well, there's a correction. If you could re-share your screen, the listed reason for denial of that mercantile license application was an inspection, failure of an inspection by the construction official.
I'll pull it up again. Michelle, do you want to? Okay, you can proceed.
Okay, so what you said before was incorrect. There was no.
I read you an email that was sent to you by the administrator on September 21st. So that wasn't incorrect. I read you an email that was sent on September 21st, 2020 at 2:50 p.m. But that's the email that was sent to you before the denial.
Okay, so all right. Anyway, so I'm here to appeal the disapproval of this mercantile license application on I guess 3 grounds now. First, there's no requirement in the ordinance 49 that the background check be received, but results be received before a mercantile license can be issued. It is not, the town contracts with an outside agency to perform the background check. I submitted to it on the first available date, and the town in its own ordinance has only a 10-day time limit to approve or deny the application. And it's up to the administrator of the town to use a vendor who can provide the results within the time required in the ordinance. Nevertheless, the result is not required to receive the results to issue the mercantile license. You can always, if the results come back and they're not back yet after a month, if they come back with a problem, you have the ability to pull the mercantile license if there is a problem, which there won't be. The second grounds for appeal is that the reason listed here is that the construction, there's a failure of an inspection by the construction official. The only inspection required in 49 is by the police department. Yet you have a form here with 6 different inspections on it. So failure of a non-required inspection, if it occurred, which it didn't, is irrelevant to the issuance of this mercantile license. Third, the construction official did not perform an inspection, never visited the building, well, before the application was pending or before it was denied. There was no violations issued. He did not come here, and he never issued a report. And we had made an open request, the results which were returned yesterday, asking for any violations, any open permits, any evidence of an inspection by the construction official before September 25th, and we got nothing. So this failure of a construction official that's entered and listed on this application is fabricated. There is no inspection by a construction official. So on those 3 grounds, I would just ask that you render a decision to issue this mercantile license. We cannot open till we have a business certificate of occupancy, but neither is dependent upon the other. The mercantile license can be issued at this time.
Mr. Nardone, you do see on the top of the form, do you not, that there's other types of licenses listed besides mercantile, right? Where it says Board of Health, et cetera, mobile vendor, all those things, right? You see that?
Yes.
Okay, and because you reference other departments, but there's other licenses that this form could be used for. Secondly, I understand the construction official did conduct a site inspection and did send you communication today, but again, for issues that were raised with respect to work performed there, and that falls under section 10-14 under the business certificate of occupancy. That's a separate component, but as I said, I just want to reiterate that. So with that,
It's irrelevant to this.
Okay.
Nevertheless, if this was a mercantile license application, then why did the borough administrator, if you scroll down again, fill in unnecessary sections for inspections? An unnecessary section for construction official inspection, unnecessary section for other official inspections. The only requirement in 4.9 is the police inspection, and that is been submitted to and is pending.
there's other requirements such as conformance with the zone. Is there not, that you're in conformance with the zone? It's not the only requirement.
Is that in 4.9?
Yes. And I'm not suggesting that's an issue. I'm just telling you that it's not, background check's not the only issue. It's also conformance with the zone. It's also that you're not indebted to the borough in any way. There are other conditions set forth. So with that, certainly the council can ask any questions of you or raise any inquiries. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Nardone? Everyone's muted.
So approval of the mercantile is dependent on the background check. So
not solely, but it's one of the components.
One of the components. So even if we had the background check, then what?
Then you can make a determination once you have the background check. And obviously you're in a pandemic, so I'm sure certain things were delayed as well. But that's the primary component, right? It's that conforms with the zoning, that it's a background check comes back, that they're duly licensed and they haven't been revoked before and they're not indebted to the borough in any way. Those are the primary considerations under the ordinance for the mercantile.
Once again, the background check does not have to come back. It does not have to be complete before this license can be issued.
Right.
And as I said, the council has 30 days to make a decision from your appeal. So they do have that period of time till the next meeting. So from the mayor and councilors, or anyone else that wants to speak with Mr. Nardone, has any questions or would like to proceed?
I know it's not proper for me to speak.
Hang on, Laura, before you start, this has to, we have to do this in a particular manner.
This is only the mayor and council can speak with Mr. Nardone right now. It's not open to the public.
Exactly. So once we get into public portion, that's when you're going to be able to voice your comments.
So how would the council like to proceed, or ask any other questions, or what would you like to do with this?
I would like to know when did you go get your fingerprinting done?
The first available appointment is tomorrow.
Okay, so we really don't have much to discuss here, because until we get the results back, and I understand you have issue with the way that the ordinance is written, and if there's ever an issue, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, we go to our past practice, and we have not issued mercantile licenses to anyone without getting the background check back. Did I represent that properly, Mr. Shabarik?
As far as past practice, I can't speak to the borough, but that's correct in the sense that there's nothing in here that says that you could issue it contingent on a background check, because you don't know what the background check's going to say.
Correct.
So, and the chief of police is the one who, or the police department is going to address that. And then, as I said, the ordinance is very specific with the investigation that is conducted, and it's primarily with the background check, the fingerprinting. So
But it's also very specific in the time allowed to approve or deny the application. You can't have an ordinance that is going to be 60 days for a business once they have to be completely ready to operate before they apply for a mercantile license. And now you're
well, I wouldn't say
60 days or more to get results.
I wouldn't say completely ready to operate, because you would still need to get a certificate of occupancy, a business certificate of occupancy, but that's not before the council right now. So
I mean, make the investment of all your capital before you can go for the mercantile license, because you've got to have everything prepared to open your business.
okay. Anything further from the council? Any?
And I would just say that, you know, you should, if you have an ordinance that gives you 10 days to perform a background check, then you manage your town so that you can perform the background check in 10 days. Why put this on the business to now wait probably 45 days before you get the results of the background check? Because I took the first available appointment when I applied for the mercantile license on September 8th. So it's a full month to get an appointment to your vendor, because you don't want to do it yourselves, to get the background check done. This is not on me. This is how you're managing the process for businesses to open in Highlands.
Mr. Nardone, to be fair, this was written well before a global pandemic hit the entire planet. We are looking to change this ordinance now for future businesses to open, knowing that there is a backlog for background checks right now. And we will also correct a host of other things that have made this process complicated.
Mayor, I just want to advise Mayor and Council and Mr. Nardone that we do not pick the vendor. This is dictated to the police department. It's no longer in our hands. It is one vendor. So that's probably one of the reasons as well why there is such a wait.
And from what I'm seeing in the code book, at least, the initial ordinance was drafted in 1994. So I don't know what the process was back then, but.
I would like to tell Mr. Nardone that we're also looking into changing the form because I do believe it is misleading also.
Well, I think it's an issue of the administrator doesn't know how to fill out the form.
Okay, we're not, there's no need.
If it requires a single investigation by the police department, why is there the items around health and fire and construction, which are all required for the business certificate of occupancy, why are they doubly required now on the mercantile license application? Just so there could be more red tape and more hoops to jump through?
I think that Mr. Chabarak addressed that because this form is actually used for other matters as well, and I think that's what—
I understand that, and so should the administrator, yet she's continued and filled out unnecessary sections of the form with pending for inspections that weren't even needed.
All right, but what's before the council is—
For inspections that weren't even needed.
Mr. Nardone, what's before the council is your appeal, and it was offered to you to hold it open pending the background search, and you wanted to proceed. So now the council can decide how they'd like to proceed today, and knowing that they have 30 days to make a determination. Their due date is October 23rd, and the next meeting is October 21st. So is there a motion? How would you like to proceed?
I'd like to make a motion that we wait until the background check comes back.
I second that.
Okay. And it has to be addressed at the next meeting based on the 30-day time frame. Okay.
Ken, did you have anything further?
I was just going to ask, is the background check is the only thing holding it up at this point?
I did get word back from the zoning department that he is in compliance for the business that he did. That was yesterday.
Well, I think we should wait till the next meeting. I think that's sufficient. If the background check is still not back by that time, I think we may want to consider granting the mercantile pending the background check. If it comes back with a problem, then we'd have to address it then. But I have to agree that he has a very good point that all your resources have to be spent to get to the point where you apply for your mercantile, and then the longer the mercantile takes, the longer you're sitting there not producing with whatever your business is, because you can't run it, even though you've spent all your resources to get to that point. That's a little unfair. I think 20 or 30 days is adequate to get the information back to fulfill the mercantile license. But beyond that, I think it's a burden. It's overly burdensome on businesses that are trying to open, especially in this climate. So I think we should wait till the next meeting. And if we still have no background check, I think we should seriously talk about, as long as there's nothing else wrong, going ahead with it without the background check. And then when it comes in, if there's something glaring, then we can, as we know, we can revoke mercantiles.
So that's a discussion for the next meeting, but I think there's a motion, right, to table this now to the next meeting to make a decision, right? Okay.
Michelle, if you could please call the roll.
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes, and I just want to say, Mr. Nardone, I really hope that this process is complete before the next meeting, because I do want to see you open and operating.
Council President Ryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos?
Yes.
Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Okay.
Next, we have on the agenda Huddy Park.
Dave Momo, are you on the line? He was. I don't know where he went. Well, I can present this for him as well. The DPW department has been working hard on ensuring that the parks look good. I think that they're doing a great job. There was an incident that during one of the events in the park, the grass area was damaged, and we have to do some repairs and reseed. After discussing this with the DPW superintendent, he has suggested if we could move the farmers market to the skate park. During the discussion, the police chief had also said he would not have a problem if we had to close down that one road area over at Waterwitch and Bay Avenue, if that would secure safety for people crossing over who might want to go to the park to enjoy the park. I wanted to bring it to the mayor and council's attention and get your thoughts on it.
Is the parking lot safe over there? Like even?
Excuse me?
Is the parking lot safe and even over there?
Yes, it's usable. We do use that parking area.
I believe what happened was an accident that's not happened before. And I think with only a couple of weeks left of the market, it seems weird to entertain moving it from, again, something that was an accident. The guy's bowl turned over. But please, Linda, go ahead.
I think that I agree with you. I think, what do we have, a couple of more weeks of farmers market at this point? I can understand what the DPW is saying about perhaps people want to use the park, or, you know, that maybe there is damage, even if it was an accident or whatnot. Maybe we consider this for next year. moving the market to a different area for next year, but I think.
It would be for next year, Councilwoman
Oh,
Mottola.
okay, because that wasn't presented to us earlier.
Yeah, I was hoping Dave would get on and be able to explain, but it would be for next year. Any of the grass that's been damaged at this point, it's not going to be ready to be fixed until spring anyhow.
So we have a lot of time to think about it.
But I do want Dave and, the whole crew there to know that I do appreciate all the hard work that they're doing. In the 3+ years that I've been living here, the town just does look tremendously better than it did the day I moved in. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I'll relay the message to the DPW.
Do we have a member of the Lions Club with us?
I'm a member of the Lions
You
Club.
There you go.
Yes, I'm here.
Well, he changed his shirt.
Sheila.
I like that quick change. I was wondering why that camera was out.
Think about taking that on the road. The Lions Club elected me spokesman. Was not my idea, but in any case, just about a year ago, they had refurbished an old mailbox. They had a car body shop repaint it and put the logos on it and the signage on it, and it was placed at Borough Hall for people to put their eyeglasses in. I don't know if everybody understands what the Lions Club International does. Their primary goal is to give aid to people with sight problems and blindness.
That's not true, Ken.
What?
I said that's not true. The primary goal of the Lions Club is much greater than just people
Yes,
with
there's
sight
lots of
problems.
things they do, but that is the origin of the Lions Club.
Maybe the origin, yes.
So, and it continues to be. So in any case, they have prepared, and I have to do some things for you to see this. So give me a second. All right, so I think you can see it a little bit. They made this this frame, this matted and framed. There's a photograph of the day that we put the eyeglass deposit box at Borough Hall, and there was a newspaper article about that as well. And they've put this all together in a little frame, and they wanted to present this to mayor and council so they can put this in Borough Hall or wherever is appropriate. And I'll give you a little statistics on what's happened in the year. They've collected over 100 pairs of eyeglasses, along with a couple of phones and hearing aids. All of those things are appropriate. You can drop any of those things in there. Apparently there are 3 redistribution centers in the country, and one of them is here in New Jersey, where they clean and process, categorize the glasses and put them in little boxes, and then they're shipped out all over the world. It's an international operation. So we can feel very good about the effort it's taken to get all this accomplishment. The Lions Club would also like to thank all the people who put their sewer and tax payments in the box. They really appreciate that, because every little bit helps. So please read the box before you put your tax payments in the box. But anyway, that concludes our little presentation. We're always looking for new members.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you. We have, next on the agenda is reports. We do have the administrator with a report.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing good tonight. I just wanted to go over a few different things quickly. I know it's late and everyone would like to speak. I did want to bring to everyone's attention that the borough has received a CDBG grant for the Marine Place Walkway for $179,000. This public hearing was done in the summer, if you guys would remember. This will allow the residents and visitors to enjoy an ADA walkway that is raised to increase the view. And this would be at the front of the bay and river and skyline for New York City. The borough also recognizes that this project is going to be needing to be phased out to include maintenance of the seawall that currently is there. We will work further as we have some project meetings in the next few months, and we will sit with the engineer to see how we will work that out. The DPW workers plan to replace the culvert covers on South North Street. We are currently awaiting the markouts for the utilities. In preparation for the project, I don't know if anyone had seen, the DPW superintendent had the storm main jetted and videoed, and everything was good to go for this project. I conducted a CPR, AED, and first aid class for the Borough Police Department a couple of weeks ago, and I want to say that it was truly enjoyable and enlightening to see a group of employees so eager to ask questions and learn in order to protect the residents of their town. It was really a wonderful thing to see the first responders and how they really seek questions and answers and partook in the exercises. The Borough Recreation Department will be sending surveys out for the senior population of the borough. This survey will also be on the website, social media, and there will be surveys dropped off to PTAC Towers. This will happen next week, and we just want to get some information for the senior groups in town on what we can offer to that population. We understand that during this pandemic, it is so much harder to get out and to communicate with people, meet people, and do different things with one another, that we want to get some information from people. This year, the recreation coordinator has been working with me along with Cody Valkos and Miranda Nash of the communication committee to recreate a website for the borough. After many hours of work, we will be ready to launch the new website potentially on October 24th. I do want to let everyone know that the information that would be put on the website is going to be shared on the borough Facebook page and our social media sites in the case that there are any failures to that new website. The Water Witch ordinance that was adopted tonight, or introduced tonight rather, that represents a mitigation plan and repairs that have been acknowledged by NJOEM and FEMA. Part of that money will be reimbursed, part of the Hurricane Sandy project worksheets back from 2012. This mitigation project is being worked on with H2M Engineering and myself, and we've done a lot of work to ensure that we can mitigate that pump station as best as possible. We're hoping that we could, Ken, you might know the wording better than I do, or Doug, the type of electronic switch that will be automatic shut off and turn on for the main. I think it's a V something switch, and then this will also ensure that a generator is placed at the site, so there will no longer be that portable generator that you see outside, along with some upgrades to the building and beautification for the residents that live near it. I would like to thank the Seabright River Ocean Rescue for their services this summer. They did a great job. I went over their statistics today, and they had some saves. They were always kind and wonderful to the residents and visitors of the town, so I did want to thank them, and their reports are on our borough website. Locust Street NJDOT funding project had a bid opening last week, and we are hoping that this will be ready to award at the next meeting. So this would probably be maybe a late fall, early spring project to pave that road. I also would like to just clarify some things as well. I just want to take a minute to address the council and the public on a few things. Lately, my job responsibilities as a borough administrator of Highlands has been incorrectly portrayed by potential Highlands businesses on social media. Based on New Jersey State Borough Administrative Guidelines, which uses the NJMMA, which is the New Jersey Municipal Managers Association model, my job entails the following responsibilities. The administrator shall be responsible for continually improving communications among the various borough personnel departments, agencies, boards, and governing body. Contrary to what has been posted on social media, I do not perform code enforcement, which is done by the code enforcement officer, an individual and department that must enforce the borough code as adopted. I do not perform inspections nor background checks for mercantile licenses. I only ensure that all the required departments have signed off on their portion without concern for public health and safety, per the borough ordinance. An appeal for the denial is brought before the council and mayor and determined by majority vote, and which I have no say in. I cannot and do not determine DEP codes, regulations, and fines which are dictated to the mayor and council in writing by the DEP. I am only copied on this correspondence, and if I receive it, I am to give it to the mayor and council when it's given to me. This is again an area that I have no say in. In the past, if an individual business or resident had an issue with a building or code violation, you would reach out to a council liaison, who in turn would bring it before the council and mayor if my office was unable to handle the issue. This year, liaison positions were eliminated for borough departments. Now, if my office is unable to assist with the complaint or issue, the proper handling, I want to tell the residents or the businesses, is to email the mayor and the council and advise them of the problems that you're having. The council in turn will forward it to the borough attorney if needed. It is not my responsibility to determine if any violation is valid. This is between the mayor, council, attorney, and the appropriate department. If an individual business or resident has an issue with a borough employee, it should be first sent to me in writing. My responsibility is to then make the mayor and council aware of the issue after I speak to the employee. If the borough employee disagrees with what has been reported to me, they are entitled to legal representation. The borough also contracts a labor attorney who is appointed by the majority vote by the mayor and council at the first council meeting each year. I do not have say in who the mayor and council choose as either the borough attorney or the labor attorney. Last, as it is typical in all management and employee positions, I do not address questions, criticism, rumors on any social media platform. If an inappropriate accusation or false statement about me is made or posted on social media and brought to my attention, I in turn will bring it to the attorney, mayor, and council to address on my behalf. I will also do the same thing for any borough employee. I just wanted to clarify for the public the misconception about my job responsibilities I have been told some individuals are posting on social media platforms. Thank you, and please always feel free to contact me, and everyone have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Does anyone from the table have anything that they would like to say before I open this up to the public? Seeing nobody. Okay, let's open it up to the public.
Carol Bucko.
Hi.
Okay, Carol. Carol is going to start us off. Carol, please
Yeah.
state your address for the record.
Okay, Carol Bucko, 330 Shore Drive. First of all, I don't know why you're fooling around with the marina. He walked into it with his eyes wide open, and he has to take responsibility for it now. But you know, I understand that he should just repair the bulkhead first before he starts wanting to do other things, because I understand Washington Street was totally flooded a couple of weeks ago. And I don't know why you keep entertaining it, because he doesn't want to follow the rules. You made the rules a long time ago, 2017. You know, anyway, that's not my problem, that's your problem. I would like to know where I can get a copy of this thing you're adding to the ordinances about flags. Chapter 10-15.
Michelle, is the ordinance on the borough website?
Yes.
I didn't find it.
It's under resolutions and ordinances.
Yeah,
Under
but
the
the
agenda.
ordinance itself is not there. Ordinances stop at 10-14.
I believe I can send you the link tomorrow if you'd like.
I would appreciate that. Thank you
Sure.
very much.
I don't know if I have a right to speak.
Yes, you do. If you would just state your name and address for the record, please.
Absolutely. Laura Cowan, 215 Linden. Where exactly is the community development block grant going?
That is on Marine Place. Right, you know where Snug Harbor is? And then where Captain's Cove Marina begins? It's the length of that area over there. I believe if you look at the public hearing where we presented the CDBG program, there should be a diagram as well. If you like, I can forward it to you too, if you want to send me an email.
I spent a lot of years literally applying for them. So I know where to get the public filings. I just wanted to make sure I knew where it was.
Okay. So if you could just email Kim, she can send that right. She'll send it over to you.
Gotcha.
Thank you. I do believe actually, Russ, you asked to be heard.
Yes, I do. Can I
Address
speak
for the
now?
record, please?
Yes, Russ Chellock, 3 Washington Avenue, Highlands, New Jersey. I've had a couple emails to Kim and other people asking basically, when do I have to evacuate? We have heard how dangerous the conditions are on Washington, that it is subject to imminent catastrophic failure. And the town has a responsibility to do something. There's a body of law called Dangerous Conditions of Public Property. And basically, town, you can't sue the government, but you can sue them if they screw up royally. And in this case, they screw up royally if the dangerous condition is imminent and it's confirmed, if grave injury can result from catastrophic failure, if the condition was foreseen, which it is, and if the town's been given constructive notice, which it has, and if there is inaction by persons or person employed by the public entity that allows this dangerous condition to persist, then you can sue the government. So the town has liability here, and they need to tell me when I have to evacuate. And they should also tell the rest of the neighbors, and they should also put together a plan for mitigation, for warning, and for emergency corrective actions. So I've been requesting that for some time, and there's been no substantive response. Is there one today?
Would engineering like to address that question?
Sure thing. Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Chellock, I appreciate your sincere concern for your home and your neighbors.
Or administration?
Excuse me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Very good. So I appreciate your concern. I just want to go back to my report from October of 2019 to make sure the conclusions of my structural engineering team are clear. In 2019 of October, we performed a structural assessment, site assessment upon the direction of the borough. It concluded that the existing bulkheads are in very poor to poor condition, and that the potential for either progressive failure, which is already underway, or sudden failure needs to be considered. So I've read your email chains back and forth to the borough administrator, and somehow that section of my written report has evolved to you concluding that you're in danger. My office has not directed you to evacuate the area. Today,
No,
you
that's not
received a
true.
copy
Your claim that there was imminent catastrophic failure pending for the
of the
street.
bulkhead, of the
Yes,
bulkhead.
for the street, including the
Yes,
utility poles.
bulkhead.
And the fire marshal testified that based on your report, he's not going to drive the fire truck down the street. That is what warning that basically the sky is falling. I'm not talking about 2019. I'm talking about a couple weeks ago.
Well,
When
this
you said
actually started.
repeatedly,
This started.
under further questioning, you repeated yourself and said, yes, imminent catastrophic failure without warning. Those are your words, not mine.
Of the bulkhead, okay? It's of the
No,
bulkhead.
on the street. You said Washington, including the services, the gas lines, and you specifically said including the utility poles.
So
that is what my concern is based on. Your recent, very recent declaration that the sky is falling.
So those are not my words, again.
No, you did say imminent catastrophic failure without warning.
Cello, I have to
Fire
correct
street
you.
The private
and
bulkhead.
utility poles.
Potential.
It's a
Mr.
matter of
Cello,
record. It's
you
on
have-
video.
Mr.
have
Phillip,
to-
you have
It's
to
on video.
allow the engineer to speak. If you can't continually speak over him. There might just need to be a little delay. So after you had your comment, please let the engineer address your comments.
So I'll remind you, it's our opinion, the bulkheads are potentially in risk of total and sudden failure. That's our findings, okay? The area of influence behind the bulkhead could include portions of the road, portions of utilities, those two specific JCP&L utility poles that were in the letter that you received from me today, okay? So today, I responded to your email back to the borough, sent it to the property owner so they're aware of your concerns as well. And I also outlined in that all the actions that the borough has taken to date. So to say that the borough has not been taking action recently, it is totally inaccurate.
And you said that a couple of weeks ago, you said that there is imminent danger of catastrophic failure without warning for Washington Ave, for the utility poles, for the power lines that have 7,000 volts going to the transformers, 14 feet from my window, bedroom window. Said all that was at risk. Those are your words, not mine.
No,
Based
those are
on that
absolutely
testimony,
your words.
the fire
Those are
marshal
your words.
came back and said, excuse me. The fire marshal came back and said, well, I'm concerned for their safety. If he's concerned for the safety of his fire trucks, I think I should be very concerned about the safety of my home. I want to know what you're doing about it to warn the neighbors and to provide temporary emergency repairs to keep these telephone poles from failing, to have, I don't know what's involved. I'm not the expert, you are. And again, I remind you about this body of law called
Mr. Chillick, you are way beyond 3 minutes here, and we're going into getting to repeating things again. So your comments are here, they've been heard, this has been recorded, this will be here for posterity.
All right, well, can I say one thing? Give me 10 more seconds. Let the record show that I contacted the utility companies, they contacted our engineer, and based on his letter, he made no mention of imminent catastrophic failure of the utility poles or the gas lines. He simply talked about the, just give me a moment here. In very subtle terms, he said the deteriorated state of the bulkhead, and he told JCP&L that the bulkhead was showing signs of failure. There was no mention of imminent catastrophic failure without warning.
Okay.
So I
we
think
will
he's
that.
deliberately covering up the fact that he has basically declared the sky is falling. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I thought I saw Doug, you had your hand up?
Yes.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Douglas Lentz, 3 Cornwall Street, Highlands, New Jersey. First, I want to speak to what I heard tonight. You know, there's a reoccurring theme here as far as Mr. Perini and Mr. Nardone coming to the council and trying to get approvals for businesses, investing money into the town and trying to get things open up. And it seems like the council and the people are looking for ways to discourage him rather than help him. And I find that just appalling. Number one, Mr. Perini was simply asking for a mercantile license for the rest of the year, which is less than 2 months, and to pull the rug out from under him. And I've been down there to take a casual look. He's invested a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort. He's done more than the previous owner ever did in the last 20 years. And so he should have been given the benefit of the doubt and encouraged to move on and produce some more progress. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. I would address Mr. Valkos first. I'm looking at his mailer here that he is a proponent of business and wants to help small business and bring business to town. And that's certainly not one way of doing it. And it just a simple vote yes, giving him a 60-day mercantile license, which he already had, but you chose to vote no and tell him, you know, we don't want you here, more or less.
No, I mean, we've given him time and time again. I mean,
I understand that,
when does it end?
Progress is going on. It looks better than it did in a long time. I think that another small show of helping him would gone a long way. And it seems the same way with Nardone, because they did the same thing to me when I was trying to get my liquor license approved. It took forever, and I got a conditional operation conditionally. That was 20 years ago in 2001, because it took so long for the process to go on. That's just tonight's observation of myself. I want to go back to the last meeting, please, if I would, on the vote for the council for the vacation of Cornwall Street. Does everybody remember that for the last meeting?
Yes.
Yes, I'll take that as a yes. Are you guys aware of that it was introduced and it was voted on the introduction and it was passed unanimously? The vacation, a small portion of the end of Cornwall Street, a piece of property that's approximately, in my benefit, 20 by 20. That's 20 feet by 20 feet. And I invested $4,000 in engineering and legal fees. Proving Ground also invested $4,000 in legal fees and engineering fees. And I believe the town invested $4,000 or somewhere thereabouts. I've asked for an accounting of it. I haven't gotten it yet. Again, I'm going to go to Mr. Valkos because he's a proponent of small businesses. And I don't know him at all, hardly at all. My question is, Mr. Valkos, are you aware that it cost me this much money? You know, that was asked of me in March of this year, which was beginning of COVID. So we didn't know if we were going to have any business at all whatsoever this year. So we're all scraping to get by at that time.
Yep.
So, you know, to make that decision to spend the money, I thought it was a pretty easy vote, that it was going to pass very easily. I didn't realize that it was a waste of money for all of us. Okay.
The person that talked, there was a resident that exclaimed concerns, and, you know, I also try to listen to the residents. We don't give out free property.
Understood, sir. Okay. So you want to say that?
Excuse me, Mayor. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry, sir. It's I'm just letting the mayor know that You're very close to your 3 minutes, so just wrap up your thoughts, please.
Please. Are
Thank
kidding
you.
me? Okay, well, this ordinance already passed 30 years ago from my family, that it was introduced and it was passed by the council. But unfortunately, the borough clerk didn't record it in Monmouth County, so it didn't happen. It was as if it didn't happen. Every voter on the council approved it unanimously when it was introduced. It was up for a public hearing and a discussion, and Cody nor Linda or anyone had any opposition. How many people spoke against it, may I ask, Cody, in the public portion? How much opposition was there to this?
I believe it was 2.
It was 2. They must have been very compelling.
I mean, they
compelling
were.
people.
That's my job to listen to residents.
Yes, sir. What was the compelling critical factor that swayed three council members?
Giving away free property, and unfortunately, some people don't like it, but the Army Corps of Engineers project is still real. So we're giving away property that might need to be the plan for the future. Who knows? I mean,
okay.
One of them is actually on this call right now. Actually,
I
think both of them are.
No, I understand. It is property that, I don't know if you're aware of the whole situation, I've maintained and taken care of for the last 20-some years. I invested tens of thousands of dollars into maintaining that property, including pavers and plantings and so on and so forth. I'm not really here to complain about that. But again, it seemed like such a good idea when you heard it from yourself. So these compelling factors changed 3 council members' mind and forced myself and Proving Ground and probably the borough to waste $12,000. So I guess my 3 minutes is up. I'd like to thank you all for nothing. And so you should take this flyer that says you're a proponent of small business and throw it away, because you showed me tonight that you have no interest in small business whatsoever.
Okay,
Thank you, everybody.
we really can't get into the politics here, okay?
Never mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
A little late for saying that.
Sorry?
I said that was a little late for saying that. You said at the beginning, I thought of the meeting, you didn't want politics discussed, but that happened.
I have to agree.
I would also remind everybody that we are on the 3-minute limit, and it feels like it's going a lot longer than that. And if it's 3 minutes for some, it's 3 minutes for all.
3 years for the others.
Okay, does anybody else would like to speak?
Yes, I would.
I do. Kim Skorka, Short Drive.
Okay, Kim, if you could hang on. Joseph Nardone chimed in first.
Okay. Hello, this is Joseph Nardone, the 5th, 254 Bayside Drive, co-owner of the Highlands Co-work. I'd just like to respond and discuss 2 topics. The first is that despite what the borough administrator said, she does have the responsibility to know the town ordinances, to manage the application processes, and comply with the ordinances, and also to have her reports comply with the ordinances. Additionally, she has the responsibility to not put false information on government forms. 2 instances of falsified documents have been submitted to the DCA and New Jersey Attorney General's office. No further comments from me on this topic. My second comment would be in regards to code enforcement ticketing. After we weighed complaints about our process with the town, we received a deluge of tickets, the fines of which could exceed $10,000. Whether or not these are legitimate tickets, the issue is as follows. We were told by town officials we must show up to court or we would be issued a warrant for our arrest. It turns out that when we attempted to go to court, that there are no court hearings in session due to COVID-19. Is this a good image for Highlands to send to businesses, to send them to court under threat of arrest when the town officials does not even know that the court is closed? Thank you, that's all.
Kim Skorka.
Kim Skorka, Short Drive. Carolyn, don't sigh. I promise it's going to be short. I'm just wondering if it would be possible to put the agenda packet all in one file like it used to be. There's a lot of confusion between finding the few pages of the agenda, and then there's a file with the resolutions. And now it's new that the ordinances are separate, and I'm sure next week or next meeting rather, there's going to be yet another file. They're all in different locations. If we could just go back to streamlined one file, I think there'd be less confusion and Carol would be able to find her ordinances. That's it. Thank you.
I agree with you, Kim. Thank you.
Mayor.
Mr. Perini?
Yeah, real quick follow-up on the discussion that just went on about the inlet and the property. So something interesting that Mr. Valkos had said is that the seawall project is still very much a reality, although some people don't like that. You know, going back to the fact that everybody's all over me about replacing these bulkheads, these vinyl bulkheads, and not letting me open because of that, shouldn't we have a narrative, a discussion with the town and the Army Corps about possible you know, seawalls going in that area? I mean, why am I being pushed to spend this money on bulkheads when obviously the council is aware of the fact that this seawall project is very much a possibility?
I mean, I don't know if it actually is a possibility, but it's going to happen, but it's still an option. But, you know, in 2 months, it might not be up to me, so.
Well, you guys just, I mean, obviously you turned down the other application for the property for the proving ground and inlet, and that's one of the concerns. So I'm just saying that, well, you guys are pushing me to quite possibly, you know, waste money that could go elsewhere in my project when there's a, you know, something on the table that maybe I should know about and we should discuss.
The last communication I had from Army Corps, I believe that the council received was that the project was 30% complete. Linda, I believe you were on that call, right?
Yes.
So it's taken them about 20 to 30 years to get to 30% complete. So I don't think, I mean, maybe your grandkids might see this wall, but at the rate that we're going, I don't know if that's really gonna happen.
Yeah, and not only is it at 30% complete, at this point, it's just been approved to move forward in the process, which is a very long process. And in order for $1 to be spent on a project like that, you know, this town will see it in public referendum. So it actually will go to the voter, and the residents of this town will decide if they want the project on.
And one further thing on that is that, and I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, it's just been a long day.
Hey, Carolyn, it's Linda Ziamba,
Sure.
25 Grand Tour, Highlands, New Jersey. If I may ask a couple questions.
Sure.
First, I want to thank the business people on this call for investing money in Highlands. It's very, very much appreciated, and the town really, really needs it. And I hope that they don't get too discouraged and give up. My question is for one for each. So for Mr. Perini, what is the risk of allowing him to operate and meet that timeline? If there's a commitment to deliver on the repairs, why wouldn't the town allow him to operate? And then the second question regarding Mr. Nardone is if the council can, at the next meeting, give him a mercantile license to operate on the contingency that an acceptable background check come in, why couldn't that be done at this meeting?
Okay, so let me take those. Well, first off, I'll take the second one first. I'll take the second one first, and that is that it's not just the mercantile license that Mr. Nardone is waiting on. He also has not been issued his business C of O. So even if he got a mercantile license today, he still couldn't operate because he does not have a CO. As for Mr. Perini, I don't know when you joined the call, but Mr. Braswell and I both voted to give him his mercantile license and let him continue on as he's putting
Yep, I saw that.
money into it. But the rest of the council did not feel that that was the way to go. So I can't speak for any of them.
Right, I would appreciate hearing like what the risk is. Why not?
I will leave that to the three of you.
We've given him time and time again.
Can you quantify what you mean by time and time again? Like how far behind is he on the deliverables?
60 days. About 51 days is what we were working on. And it was just
51 days.
51 days, but it wasn't to redo everything. It was to do, a punch list of things. Some of them not even that complicated.
51 days.
Yes.
That's not very long in a major construction project to be behind on anything. And I mean, I run a small business. It's been a horrible time. And if we're only talking about 51 days, how in the world can we not, why would we want to discourage a business from helping town residents to fish?
Tried to buy it. It's 3 years. 3 years.
Carol, please no.
Do something.
I'm
Carol.
sorry, who's that?
Carol, yeah.
I'd like the council to speak.
Please let Linda have her time.
Linda, the issues have been going on since 2017, which are through no fault of Mr. Perini. And he walked into a problem. The reason that the council, and Carolyn, Ken, and I were on council at the time we first denied the mercantile license for Captain's Cove. And those 4 reasons, 2 of them have to be certified by an engineer, and not by our engineer, but by somebody that's either from the marina that can certify to the marina's engineers. The marina's engineer has to certify to that work. There are 4 things that have been reiterated throughout the last 9 months that need to be completed. And they haven't been completed, those 4 things. The rest of the issues, I know he has tremendous amount of issues that he's facing. But the original reason that we denied a mercantile license to the owner, who is still currently the owner until the real estate closes, they haven't been completed. So that's my reasoning for saying no to the mercantile license, because I feel like that's what we said no to the first time, after we went through a series of the owner coming to the council with a million different reasons. Do I think Mr. Perini's doing work on this marina? Absolutely. I think he's done a great job on what he has done. But there are 4 pertinent things that needed to be done for the mercantile license to begin with that haven't been completed. So that's my reasoning.
Can I clarify for a second?
That's up to the mayor.
It's really, it's Linda's time.
Yes, yes, I would appreciate a clarification.
So, okay. So
It's
you're
way
saying,
over 3 minutes.
I was going to say, this is way over 3 minutes.
you're saying 4 things haven't been completed. That's completely incorrect. The major problem Washington Ave has been completed. As a matter of fact, we even jumped through hoops and got paving done and a plumbing repair done, even though it took 2 weeks to get a permit. So that was done in 20 days. In addition to that, we were asked after our meeting with the borough engineer, we had a great discussion and we all agreed that why would we go ahead and make a temporary repair to a bulkhead when we know we're going to replace the whole thing. And I was just asked to provide a schedule, which I did, a very realistic schedule, which is going to allow me to work within in the parameters of the DEP moratoriums and with your ordinances on not being able to work until 7 a.m. even when the tides don't allow, and working around the winter. And I gave a schedule for the bulkheads, and I committed to replace the bulkheads on Washington, which would eliminate the area that Fred already said he fixed, but no one will sign off on. The only other outstanding area, per my meeting with the engineer, is the area over by Rogers, which I agreed to put 5 pilings in front of in the spring and whalers when I had the equipment back on site. It was a done deal, and it's in my schedule. The only thing you guys asked was that I not focus.
So how long does he get to talk over 3 minutes?
Okay, anyway, never mind. I'm done. I'm going to bed.
All right. Okay.
We should be helping guys like him that willing to invest that kind of money in this town.
Hang on, Doug. All right, now, if it's just going to break down, I'm just going to have to end the meeting.
Okay, good night.
May I speak?
Sure. Go
May I
ahead.
speak? Claudette, 312 Seadrift Avenue. I just want to say 2 things. Number 1, I want to correct Mr. Chilak's statement about the fire department. The fire department did not say they were not going to drive down Washington Street What they stated was they were not going to drive down the paper road. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, I heard complaints by both gentlemen about Facebook. Nobody brought this to Facebook but the two of them. If they have problems with the way it was, people were handling it in the town, particularly the council members who did not address it at all on Facebook, and they just kept hammering at employees of this town and council members over and over. It got a little tiresome that people didn't even want to hear it anymore. You brought it to Facebook, not the council, not the mayor, not the employees. If you don't like the way it's being handled, take it up with your lawyers and have your lawyers contact the town lawyers. But this is getting very tiresome for everyone in town. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudette.
Can I respond to that slander?
Oh, you know what, Russ, you've had a long time to talk. I think that we just need to move on to somebody else, okay?
Hey,
I disagree, but go ahead.
hi, it's Trisha Rivera, Waterwich Avenue. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the 2017 agreement calls for a new bulkhead on Rogers, I think 23 feet. Am I correct on that, Doug? Can you hear me?
I know that there was some.
I'm trying to recall.
On Rogers and Recreation?
There was at a street end along Rogers, there was a repair area D.
Right, it's a full replacement bulkhead, correct?
So
I look at the agreement,
if you look at the agreement, yes. The
2017 agreement.
following that agreement, the developer's engineer provided.
Holding up fucking Cody's thing.
People have to mute themselves.
But I won't vote for anything.
Can people have to mute? Thank you.
So there was a plan developed to additionally supplement the repair that was not done in accordance with the agreement at section D in the 2017 agreement.
So what is it now? I'm sorry, what is the repair that needs to be done there now? That hasn't been done, because it's in bad shape over there. Everyone keeps
in
talking
Reps
about
Theater.
Washington, but Recreation and Rogers is very close to homes, and it's really in serious condition. So what is it no longer a replacement bulkhead? Was that negotiated?
There was a detail for supplementary work to be done at that repair area D, with the understanding that it would be a short-term fix, with the full replacement being detailed in the overall project schedule.
Okay, because nothing's been done since the end of July on this bulkhead. There's been no repairs at all done, and 2 licenses given dependent on repairs being done. So I think that's what we need to concentrate on, making sure that repairs are getting done while we're giving conditional licenses. I have no problem with them working on it. I want them to work on it, but I want the repairs done. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any final comments? Well, I'll leave you with a funny. I wrote down what I forgot about the Army Corps. It will literally take an act of Congress for this to happen. And since we all know how much love is going around in Washington, I wouldn't hold your breath. And with that, I'll make a motion.
Carolyn,
Yes.
just a reminder, the film festival's this weekend.
Oh, great. Film Festival. It is in Kavujan Field, and it's going to be a good old-fashioned drive-in. It should be a lot of fun.
Friday and Saturday night.
Sorry? You're muted.
Friday and Saturday night.
Friday and Saturday night.
And I said, and I will second.
There you go. Michelle, if you could please call the roll.
Councilmember Braswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
You're muted, Linda.
Muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Council President Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Valkos,
Yes.
Mayor Brion,
Yes.
motion to adjourn at 10:24. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Everyone, thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.